All right, hello and welcome YouTube. Wanted to give a quick review, long-term review of the Yakima Twotimer bike mount. This is a hitch mount. I have the 2-inch version. They do make a version for smaller hitches. I've had this for around a year now, and I figured it was time to give a long-term review, my thoughts on it, things I like about it, things I don't like about it, and see if I can help people who are in the market for a hitch mount car mount. I did have a Thule Apex 4, which is a hanging type mount, which worked fine with, I had an older 26-inch hardtail, and it was fine for that because it had more or less a straight top tube. But I ended up getting the stump jumper, and it was really tricky to get it hanging on there properly, and a couple times it had slipped, and I was like, you know what, this isn't really the right mount for this bike. I really need a tray style mount, and I didn't really feel like spending more than like $400. At the time I was able to get this for around $300, and I think it might be discontinued now by Yakima, but you might be able to still find them online. I'll see if I can find a link to one and put it in the description below. But just some things I like about it. It is a tray mount. It's very easy to operate. It doesn't take up a whole lot of real estate behind your car. Occasionally it does trigger the rear auto brake on my car, which is super annoying, and because there's no way to turn that off all the time on a Subaru. You have to turn it off every time you want to back up. So sometimes I never do that. So sometimes I just get a little jarred and then it turns off by itself. But the things I like about it, obviously the price, the ease of use, and it's super easy to install, get set up. It deploys really quickly, and it's pretty easy to get your bikes onto it and get everything strapped in and secure. Things I don't like, not too hot about the contact point. If I could find a more reasonably priced one that just kind of holds onto the tires, that'd probably been better. But this is a hard rubber, and it's held up well. I saw some reviews people had, it looked like originally they had like a soft foam that would deteriorate relatively quickly. This is more almost like that dipped rubber coating, so it's real hard rubber. It's not, I think it's gonna last for a pretty long time. But that said, it can trap dirt, so you want to make sure these are cleared off before making contact with your bike. Also, if you have a full suspension, I would really recommend putting the rear or the suspension itself a little under load, so when you get it up on there, kind of push your bike down a little bit when you're putting these on, so that there's a little upward pressure. That will reduce the amount of rub and also make things a little more secure. The tire straps are pretty simple. It's kind of a ratchet type, so it could be a little tricky. Make sure you don't have a spoke in the way when you're throwing these on, but just push up to release it after. It's pretty solid. I was a little concerned about how well these plastic straps would hold up, but after a year, they're still there. They still work. I did have an issue where kind of the spring came out a little bit on one side, but just a quick fix with a pair of pliers. I'll just keep an eye on it. It does support up to a 50-inch wheelbase, which I think the stump jumper's like right at 49.75, so it's about at the maximum. The only issue with that is if you had 2 stump jumpers, I don't think you could get 2 stump jumpers on here. I'll tell you why. Because usually the way they recommend setting it up is to stagger these, so outside, inside, and then inside, outside on the other side. But I got both the inside bike on the outside position, and I had to do that because I could not get both my 26-inch bike and my stump jumper on at the same time. Now, it might be because I had a kind of relatively short wheelbase bike with a longer wheelbase. I do have at least another another 2 inches of space that I could move this down. So perhaps if I had 2 stump jumpers, it would be able to fit on the staggered position. I am getting rid of the 26-inch hardtail, getting my wife a 27.5-inch fuse. So I didn't really look at the geometry of the wheelbase on that yet, but I'm assuming that I'm gonna have to play around with this a little bit, and it's more than likely gonna be longer than the 26-inch hardtail was. So maybe it'll just be a matter of moving this one to the outside and everything will be hunky-dory. But just keep in mind, and the way you kind of position them on there, you got one facing, front wheel over there, the other one front wheel over here, and you might have to monkey around a little bit. It can be a little tricky with setting these up because you need this basically to hit the low point of the down tube, and this one needs to be able to grab the high point of the other down tube. So just keep in mind that you might have to find, if you get this mount, you might have to find a bike setup that will work for whatever 2 bikes you have. They do make a 4-bike version of this, but I can't imagine what a headache that would be. And it does stick out pretty far. So if you had 4 bikes, you're talking, it'd be out to here. That's a pretty long distance. The mount itself is really stable. I'll try to move it with my foot. Like, it doesn't move around too much, so it's pretty solid. I haven't gone around and tightened things up. I probably will before it's spring now, so I'll probably make sure everything's tight and ready to go. But it is super solid. It's well built. It's all steel construction, powder coated. I did notice some surface rust, but nothing penetrating, just more or less cosmetic at this point. Might go around and clean it up a little, but for $300, if you get 3 to 5 seasons out of it, I think that's worth the money. In the future, I might look at an all aluminum, maybe one of the the more expensive brands. But again, if you don't want to spend $1,000 on a bike mount like I did at the time, I'd rather put that money I saved on a mount into my bike on upgrades that will be more fun on the trail. So if you have any questions, just leave them below. Like I said, I'll try to find a link to this mount. It's a good foray into the cradle mounts, and if you're on a budget, don't want to spend a whole lot on a bike mount, give it a look. All right, it's the Yakima Twotimer. Bye.